Today we're talking about developing critical thinking skills in a second language. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart because I know how important it is for our students to not just learn the language, but to actually use it to think critically and solve problems. So how do we encourage critical thinking in language learning? One strategy that I love is using real-world scenarios. Instead of just teaching vocabulary and grammar in isolation, put it into context. For example, if you're teaching a unit on environmental issues, have your students read an article about climate change and then ask them to analyze the arguments and come up with their own solutions. Or, if you're teaching a unit on business, have them role play a negotiation scenario where they have to think on their feet and use persuasive language to get what they want. By putting language into real-world contexts, you're forcing your students to think critically and use the language in authentic ways. Another way to encourage critical thinking is through debate and discussion. Now I know what you're thinking. Scott, my students are still learning the language. How can they debate complex topics? But hear me out. You can scaffold the process by providing them with sentence starters and key vocabulary beforehand. Then divide them into teams and give them a controversial topic to debate, like should college education be free? Or is social media a net positive or negative for society? As they prepare their arguments and engage in debate, they'll be using the language to analyze, evaluate, and synthesize information, all key critical thinking skills. And the best part, they'll be so engaged in the process that they won't even realize how much they're learning. But here's the thing, developing critical thinking skills takes time and practice. It's not something that happens overnight, so start small and build up. Use quick critical thinking exercises as warm-ups or exit tickets. For example, give your students a picture and ask them to come up with as many interpretations as possible. Or give them a list of words and ask them to create analogies between them. As they get more comfortable with these types of activities, you can start incorporating more complex tasks and projects. And don't forget to model critical thinking yourself. Ask open-ended questions, think out loud as you solve problems, and encourage your students to do the same. With consistent practice and exposure, your students will be thinking critically in their second language like pros in no time.